To everyone who has accused me of being we can now finally put these rumors to rest. The allegations are not true. I vehemently deny them. I am not and have never been a Welcome back. Today we're here to do something pretty different for us. We've never done anything quite like this.
No, we did just once.
Sort of.
At the beginning.
Sort of. Okay, basically we're here today to answer the questions that we are asked the most. People write to us all the time. We love hearing from you guys. Also, obviously, there's the comment section, so we get questions in there. And so I've gradually sort of compiled a list of the questions that seem to come up the most. This is a little bit out of our wheelhouse. We like making videos about food, and this isn't really something we were ever thinking about doing. But recently, some of the guests on one of our Italian food tours, they were telling us that we should do a Q&A video. We're also partly doing this because of something very strange we have noticed written about us online. Yeah, we need to address some allegations, shall we say. Okay, you ready for the first question?
I'm always ready.
This is a question that we get a lot, and it's for you. Are you a trained chef?
No. I'm not a trained chef. I never went to a culinary school. I didn't go to any food course or something like that. I just like to eat, which means that in order to eat, at least in Italy, you need to cook. So if you like to eat good food, you need to learn how to cook good food. I studied communication. I was an Italian language teacher for foreigners. So it has nothing to do with food. As I said, I just like to eat, and in order to eat, I need to cook.
A lot of people also assume that Eva learned how to cook from her mom, from Mama Rosa, which is partly true because Mama Rosa has like her specialties that she cooks really well, and like you learned those dishes from her. But who did you really learn how to cook from?
Since when I was a child, the chef, she wasn't a chef, she isn't a chef, but the chef of the house was the cook of the house was my Aunt Maria. She is a woman who is capable to do everything you ask her. So, because as a child I like to watch her, helping her, so I can say that she is the real person who taught me how to cook. Then it's obviously also my mother, my father, on an everyday life, looking at what they were doing in the kitchen, because actually in Italy the kitchen is the main room of all the house, where you need to talk, you go into the kitchen, you need to hang out, you go into the kitchen.
When you live here, like everyone is always cooking and everyone has their own, specialties or dishes that everyone knows, like they cook the best, and so you just pick it up from everyone.
Spy. At the end, you go and spy.
Zia Maria is an amazing cook though, and we actually made a video with her a while back. I'll put a link to that up here too. This is a question, or maybe an accusation that we get in the comments a lot. Do I like everything that you cook? Which I think the underlying accusation is that I'm like lying or something,
Or you're a trash can.
Or that I'm a trash can and I'll just eat anything. Similar to that question we'll also get is like, do I like all Italian food? The answer to both of those is no. For example,
And I will never forgive you for that.
Because it's your favorite food.
Yes.
It's your favorite food.
See.
This is another thing too. You'll hear us say on the channel a lot what Eva's favorite food is, and it's always an alternation of either pizza, gelato, or this food. It depends a little bit on what mood she's in, but this is one of the three. There is something here called stocco, or stoccofisso. Stoccafisso. See, I don't even know the name. Many of you are probably familiar with bacala, which is like salted cod. Stocco is the same kind of fish as bacala. It's cod, but it is dried in the sun. So it's dried cod, and you buy it in like big fillets of this rock hard dried fish. And you have to soak it for like days and days and days before you can even cook with it.
It's not a Calabrian produce.
Yeah, it's not a product of Calabria. It comes from like what, like Norway or something?
It comes from Norway.
Yeah, and some of you are probably familiar with stockfish. That's the same thing. It's one of the few foods that is heavily imported here. Italy imports less food than any other country in Europe by a huge margin, but they import tons of stockfish.
And most
in Calabria.
Calabria.
It's hugely popular here, and I just can't stand it.
While on the other side is one of my favorite dishes. One of my favorite also ingredients, because you can do a lot of things with it.
Oh, they do many, many things with it.
The first day that actually you met my parents.
Yeah, when I very first came to Calabria, to Dessà, to meet Eva's family, I'd never been here before.
So my parents asked me, what do you want to cook? We cook for him. And because it's like I wanted to share my favorite food, because I was pretty sure that he had a pizza before, a gelato before, but I was sure that this, it wasn't possible. So I said to my mom, look, why we didn't do a full course meal based on stock? And my mom said, okay, it's not a problem. So my mom and my dad, they spent an entire afternoon cooking the whole full course meal based on stock. There was a pasta with stock e patate, stocco fritto, insalata di stock.
So much stocco. And I took the first bite of stocco and went, oh no, I'm in trouble, because I could not stand it. If you've never had it before, it doesn't have a very strong flavor.
It's very delicate.
And it's not super fishy or anything, so that wasn't really the issue. For me, it's the texture, the kind of flaky texture. To me, it like gets kind of stuck in my throat. But I realized after that first bite, I was like, this is not for me. And actually, frankly, in my mind, I was like, maybe just Calabrian food is not for me. But because I wanted to be polite and Mama Rosa had made this big stocco meal for everyone, I ate every single bite. The problem with that is that if you clean your plate here, everyone interprets that as meaning, oh, you really like that food, let me give you more. And it was like a week where she was just cooking me stocco because she thought I really liked stocco. And I finally had to come clean and be like, Eva, please, I'm really sorry, but I need to make a confession. I don't like stocco. Please tell your mom to stop making me stocco. So yeah, long story short, I don't like all Italian food, and so by extension, I don't like everything Eva cooks. That being said, it is rare.
I hope so. Otherwise,
it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
I hope so.
But no, I don't just automatically like everything Eva cooks. Where does the name pasta grammar come from? Which I guess we've never really talked about, have we? I don't even remember if we answered it there. If we're repeating ourselves, sorry. Yeah, a lot of people ask this. A lot of people ask us in person. If we meet someone, they'll ask why we're called pasta grammar. It all started with an argument, a friendly debate, let's say. When I was here in Calabria for our wedding, because we got married in Calabria. Some of my American family came to Calabria for the wedding, obviously. And there was one dinner or lunch, some meal, where a little bit of a debate broke out between my American family and Eva's Italian family about whether or not meatballs belong on spaghetti. This was long before our YouTube channel or before it ever entered into either of our brains to start a YouTube channel. Might have been before you really knew what YouTube was.
Absolutely.
But during that debate, Eva started sort of going through some of the kind of like rules of pasta, meaning like how you pair different pastas with different sauces and what belongs with what and why this doesn't go with this and blah, 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 blah. In fact, actually, that became sort of a video. It was one of our earliest videos. I'll put a link up to that. But at the time, Ava was a language teacher. As she was sort of giving this diatribe, I just had this moment of realizing like, oh, it's like she's giving a grammar lesson. It's like she's at her, I had seen her teach and in her classrooms and stuff, and it reminded me of when she was explaining the grammar of the Italian language. Not that there was any specific idea behind it, because again, we weren't even thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I think at that time I thought that would be a good cookbook.
See, it was like you said that it could be a very good book.
Yeah, the Pasta Grammar Cookbook.
Yes.
Which ironically, now that we've actually written a cookbook, it's not even called the Pasta Grammar Cookbook. It's called the Italian Family Kitchen. Speaking of language and grammar, before we move on to the next question, a quick word about today's video sponsor. So, you were an Italian language teacher. You know a little bit about learning languages, teaching languages.
I don't know about learning, but about teaching, yes.
However, can you take any credit for the Italian that I do know?
Absolutely not.
Ava's a fantastic Italian teacher, and I know that because I've sat in on many of her classes and seen her students do well. However, if you're married and you try to sit down to do lessons in, I would guess, anything,
it doesn't work.
Those of you who are married can maybe sympathize with the challenges there.
Harper's Italian improved a lot, and even though I didn't give him any lesson, he can understand mostly of the things that not just me says in Italian, but all the people around us. So he can actually have a conversation with them without any problem. He can even talk at the phone, which is one of the most difficult things to do in a language.
Because I can't see the hand gestures. Which is like 50% of the language. Everything I've learned has just come from being immersed in the language, being around people who are speaking Italian. Everyone knows that that's the best way to learn a new language, is to be surrounded by it, but that's difficult for most people.
And that's why we love LingoPie.
LingoPie is like the Netflix of learning a new language. You literally study a new language by watching TV and movies.
If you don't live in the place where the language is spoken, you need to watch movies that they are enjoyable. They doesn't feel like a lesson, but in that moment your brain is capturing, is absorbing all knowledge about Italian language, about Italian grammar, and so it's a wonderful tool to use.
But you want to watch content where it's actual native speakers speaking in that language. It's not enough to just put the Italian dubs on an English movie and call it a day. Finding that foreign language media to watch is where LingoPie comes in, because they have over 3,000 movies and TV shows in a growing library of content. These are real movies and TV shows made by top media producers, all in that native language using real native speakers. Real language and real entertainment at the same time. They also offer a bunch of extra tools to help you practice. You can change the speed of the video, slow it down, interactive subtitles so you can see what different words and phrases mean that you're unfamiliar with. You can even make flashcards to practice new vocabulary later.
This is one of the best platform service that you can use to learn a language.
You can try LingoPie free today by clicking the link down in the description below. Check it out and see if you too, like me, enjoy learning a new language from the safety of your couch. A big thank you to LingoPie for sponsoring today's video. All right. This is one for you. So the question is essentially, do you cook like how you cook in the videos every day? I think the implication being like, if you get busy and stuff, do you ever just like, you know, get some frozen microwavable thing and stick it in? Or are you like cooking real meals from scratch every day?
And the answer is yes. I cook every day because, as I said before, if you want to eat, you need to cook. This is the lesson that my aunt, my parents taught me during the course of the years. It's obvious. If I know that I have just half an hour to put a dinner together, I'm not going to do a lasagna. The only times that I don't cook are when my mother invites me for dinner, when we go out for dinner, or the rarely occasion when he cooks for me.
When we met, I was very used to the kind of like convenience meal lifestyle lifestyle and like, I don't have time, I'm busy working and I don't have time to cook. So, you get takeout or you get some quick thing that you just reheat, a lot of that. And I do get how in this world we live in, it can be like that, and we're all super busy and we're all focused on work so much, and it can feel like cooking is less of a priority. Two things can be true at once. I can acknowledge and sympathize with that predicament, but I can also lament it at the same time, because I do think that that's not how life should be, and I learned that being here, and I learned that from you, and I truly believe now that what you eat and the meals that you share with your family, with other people, is one of the most important things in life. And at this point now, I wouldn't dream of not.
Can you think of going back to style?
No.
And believe me, we Italians, we work. It's not that we don't work or we are not busy.
Both your parents were teachers.
Absolutely.
They were super busy. They would come home late, but your mom would always
cook for me, actually for me, for my sister, for my cousin, for all the family. It's just a matter of actually organizing a little bit your time. It's obvious, she didn't cook for us, as I said, every day lasagna or cannelloni or whatever. Most of the time it was an easy and simple pasta and beans or pasta and tomato sauce. But by the way, they were much, much better than everything frozen that you can stick in the microwave.
And like also in general, if you look at like the recipes that you share on the channel, yes, every now and then there's something that's really extravagant and takes a really long time. You make a ragu or you make a lasagna or timbales.
Even a carbonara, it takes 10 minutes.
Most of the recipes, they cook in, the same amount of time it would
take you to go to a restaurant, take the takeout, going back home, maybe stuck in the traffic, going back home and sit and eat. Is like cook for yourself. 10 minutes, a plate of pasta, and you are done.
So this is a question for you. It's similar to the question that was asked about me and my food preferences. This one also maybe kind of comes with an accusation, which is, Eva, do you only like Italian food?
Cooking at home mostly of the time, yes, I eat Italian food because I know how to cook Italian food. Maybe if I were Mexican, I was eating Mexican food most of the time. So yes, mostly I eat Italian food. Then, do I like just Italian food? No, I like every food from all over the world, just based on a rule, which means it needs to be good. So I like traditional Japanese food, and I like Korean food, and I like, Arabic food, Middle Eastern food. I like American food, I like Mexican food. Actually, it's very hard for me to think a cuisine that
you don't like. I've never found one.
Also because I'm the kind of person that if I'm outside of Italy, traveling, I never go and look for an Italian restaurant because I know that I'm disappointed. So usually I go and try the specialties of the place where I am.
When we lived in America, where obviously there's so many different kinds of different cuisines and restaurants and stuff, we would never ever go out for Italian food. People would ask us all the time. We lived in Tucson, Arizona, and people would write to us. Actually, this was a question we got relatively frequently, which was, what's the best Italian restaurant in Tucson? We're like,
I don't know.
We don't know. Like when we go out to eat, we would go out for like sushi or something, like stuff that we don't eat at home.
Make at home. So it's obvious that I don't go for a plate of pasta when I'm in America because I know how to cook a plate of pasta, but I go out for sushi, for Mexican, for Tex-Mex, for barbecue, for all the rest.
This is a question that we get mostly from our Italian viewers. Ciao.
Ciao.
And I think it's kind of a funny question because I think it's something that most people wouldn't think to ask unless they're very, very knowledgeable about Italian culture. And the question is, how does Eva know so much about the food of different regions in Italy? And the reason why that's a question that an Italian would think to ask is because an Italian knows how highly regionalized Italy is. And a lot of Italians really don't know a lot about the food that isn't from their particular region. And we hear from people all the time who are like, I'm Italian, but I watch your channel because I'm from this region and, you know, I learn more about what they cook in the South or what they cook here, that I didn't know about before. So the question is, how do you know all this food from all around Italy?
Because I'm Calabrian and we are famous not just for the spicy pepper in Italy, but just to be the more, how do you say?
Dispersed. The Calabrian diaspora.
Like mostly Calabrian people, I lived most of my life, more or less I can say, outside of Calabria, which means that I had the chance to travel all around Italy, and because we have a very regional food. When I was, I don't know, in Rome, I had food from Rome, from Lazio. When I was in Umbria, I had food from Umbria, in Tuscany the same, Lombardia, Emilia-Romagna, Friuli. It's also real and obvious that there was a passion, like something that I really liked, to go around and try different cheeses, different dishes, how they make a focacciadera or in another place. So the basic was the passion and also the fact that I'm Calabrian, so I go around the world. I go and colonize the world.
If you don't know very much about Calabria, it's one of, if not the poorest regions of Italy. And so, you know, a lot of young people, they don't have a lot of opportunities here. Like Eva, when she was a kid, she had to leave. For a lot of people, that can mean leaving the country entirely. They go to, you know, England or Germany or America. But in Eva's case, it was going in other places in Italy. All right, the last most frequently asked question. This is not a question that people ask us directly or in person a lot, but it does seem to be asked a lot on the web. Neither of us are at all the kind of people who would Google ourselves. The only reason I know that this question is asked a lot is because every now and then, let's say I'm by myself, but I want to cook one of Eva's recipes or something. I just look up the recipe on our website, okay? So I'll go to Google and I'll type like pasta grammar, I don't know, tiramisu or whatever I want to make. But when you type in pasta grammar, I don't know if it's still this way, but for at least many years, I haven't checked in a while, but at least many years, you would type in pasta grammar and all the first results were like, pasta grammar, how old is Eva? How old is Harper? How old are Harper and Eva from pasta grammar? That's like all that would come up. No, clearly people weren't typing like pasta grammar recipes. No, they all just wanted to know how old we were. In fact, recently, my dad found this article online and sent it to me. This is an article on Chef's Resource titled, How Old Are Eva and Harper from Pasta Grammar? This is not an interview or something. They didn't reach out to us. There's just this article, and I was stunned that anyone would take the time to examine our ages. But if you start reading this article, you quickly realize what's going on, and basically it is clearly an AI-generated article. How do I know? Here are some examples of what this article says about us. Eva and Harper remain delightfully private about their personal lives, especially their ages. However, through careful observation, deduction, and considering typical academic timelines, we can estimate that Eva is likely in her early to mid-20s, and Harper is likely in her late teens. Hang on, I'm not finished. Eva's fluent Italian suggests extensive immersion in the language and culture, likely achieved through formal education or extended stays in Italy. Yeah, I would think being born and raised in Italy counts as an extended stay. Harper, on the other hand, clearly possesses a wealth of knowledge accumulated over a lifetime. First of all, I don't have a wealth of knowledge on anything.
But you were a teenager until...
Yeah, right, yes. I'm a teenager who has a wealth of knowledge accumulated over a lifetime. Her familiarity with traditional Italian recipes and her patient instruction of Eva speak to decades of experience in the kitchen. Her role, again, it's talking about me, her role as the keeper of family traditions also hints at an age where she naturally embodies the role of matriarch. I'm the matriarch. Wait, it gets better. Harper's physical appearance, energy levels, and storytelling abilities are all consistent with someone enjoying a vibrant and active retirement. Magari. Her wisdom and perspective reflect a life lived fully, pointing to an age where she can confidently share her expertise. Again, I'm a teenage girl, according to this.
But because the name Harper is most a women name.
Thank you for reminding me.
You told me
Thank
this.
you for reminding me. That is true. There are some men named Harper. As of the current date, Pasta Grammar does not have a published cookbook. And again, it says, it is reasonable to estimate that Eva is in her early to mid-20s and Harper is likely in her late teens, creating the captivating grandmother-granddaughter dynamic that defines Pasta Grammar.
So I should be the grandmother.
Well, you should be according to this age because you're in your mid-20s, still a young grandmother, and I'm in my late teens. It's messed up, but you should be the grandmother. But I'm the matriarch of the family who's preserving the traditional recipes and teaching you how to cook. So it goes on to specify all of the details. The channel stars Harper, the Italian grandmother, and Eva, her granddaughter, who together demonstrate how to prepare traditional dishes while sharing stories and cultural context. It is believed that Pasta Grammar began as a way for Eva to document and share her grandmother's culinary expertise with a wider audience.
So from now on, I can call you Nonna. Ciao, Nonna.
So, to everyone who has accused me of being Eva's grandmother, we can now finally put these rumors to rest. The allegations are not true. I vehemently deny them. I am not and have never been a nonna. I may someday be a no-no, but I am not a nonna. So I'm glad we finally cleared that up.
So no doubt about that anymore.
So basically what I think is going on here, because this is such a bizarre, weird article, obviously AI slop. I think this must be some website where they basically just find like questions that people are Googling a lot and just generate an article to answer that question, because then when people search for that question, they'll find this blog and then they'll click through and then they make ad money and all of that stuff. So it's just a way to people are searching for this a lot. Let's make some content that answers their question. But long story short, what this article demonstrates at the very least is that people are searching for how old we are. Now the question is, are we gonna answer?
No, Harper, because I want to keep reading articles like that.
I know, now, not that I care and I would have answered, but now that it's a thing,
See, it's
I kind of like the mystery.
Absolutely. From now on, yes, because...
We'll just play up the mystery of how old we are?
Yes, Nonna.
In the words of this AI-generated article, their ages, while a point of curiosity for many, do not detract from the value and enjoyment of their content.
Maybe this is the only right things.
That's the only right thing that they got. Other than the fact that clearly I have taught you a lot about Italian food.
Everything that I know. It comes from Nonna Harper.
You're welcome. Well, we did it. We did a frequently asked questions video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and also if you have maybe more specific questions, leave them in the comments below. If there's anything you want us to answer, maybe we'll do another one if enough people want us to and have more specific questions they'd like answered. Before we go, a quick shout out to pasta grammarian Jillian, who made a fantastic looking caponata di melanzane.
She did really a very good job, and let's be honest, it's also my fourth favorite food.
That is not one of the few dishes that you cook that I don't like. That is one of the most amazing vegetable dishes you can make. A dish that I
can't cook because it doesn't last for more than 5 seconds, so...
It's just gone, I eat it all. Thanks for trying the recipe, Jillian. We hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.